What's up? It's not morning, but this is our good morning video. So it's what is it, like 5:20 on the 15th here in the afternoon. So it's not morning anywhere if you're watching this. But I wanted to jump on and say, hey, I had a couple things I wanted to talk about today. One of which was my post yesterday I made about that little thing I did for my kid running down the bus and getting the the Valentine's bag that he left on the seat in the bus. And I have a weird relationship with talking about anything I do personally. Like, I know there are things I do that, whether it's define my day or anything else, that other people can use in their own lives. But at the same time, I was raised like to not talk about, like, you don't talk about what you do. Like, one of the sayings my dad always had is, you don't talk about yourself, let other people talk about you, which I guess could be kind of good and bad, because if they're talking bad about you, then there's nobody saying anything good about you, right? Or at least, the loudest voices are the negative ones. And I kind of saw that in some recent things over the past year, in coaching and things, is that, don't I take that almost too far, where I don't talk the positive message and just go out and keep putting in the work. And then anybody that's critical or toxic is talking, and there's nothing to balance that out. It's weird. I have this kind of weird relationship with it, but I don't want to ever sound like I'm bragging about anything. But I think it's also important, like for in this one instance, the whole time I was thinking, maybe, this is stupid. Like, why am I running down the street after a bus for these Valentines? And, and am I coddling my kid? Am I not teaching him to, suck it up or whatever? But I think in this one instance, like, it meant a lot. It was a simple mistake. He didn't mean to do it. It's not like he made like some decision. So, I ran down the bus, and I'm, running down the hill, past this one van looking at me like, what are you doing, pal? Running on the bus, and the thing that made it all matter was, like, seeing him. So I drove past my house back up the street because I had to go to the post office and the bank and do all that kind of stuff. And I thought, no big deal. He's not even going to care. He's probably not going to remember. I'm going to walk in the house and he's like, oh, where were you, Dad? But I drove past the house, and he was at the glass door and at the front, and just looking out, like, looking out the door, like, oh, where's Dad? And that, to me, right there, I'm like, yes, like, it does mean something to him. And then watching him, go through the bag and look at each one of them individually, and he was excited about it. And that's like the stuff that we let pass, it's that stuff that, we don't do, that little stuff. Like, everybody wants to focus on the big things, the big grandiose gestures. And it's the small stuff every day that people appreciate, at least you would hope so, right? And if people don't, then you got to find new people. But, hopefully the people do appreciate it. Like something like that, like, I'm also very against operating in an unhealthy way, like putting yourself out at the expense of your own health. Something like that, kind of, in a way, I put myself out, but there was no expense to me. I have a history of going way too far and doing too much, and then the people not appreciating it. And like, that's not what we're talking about here. This was a moment where I had the opportunity to do something really nice, and it was a small thing that, may not ever mean anything to him, but, every day, the small moments, me, jumping into bed with him every morning and give him a kiss and say, okay, it's time for school, going to bed, and all the, the little things. And I relayed, that thing with that, the newscaster that interviewed my wife. I talked about this the other day. He started a habit every night of saying, good night, Dad, I love you. And he did it with his kids. And, like, that's like something that he remembers, and they all held to their heart real close. And it's something we do too. Good night, I love you. Goodbye, I love you. Like, we don't ever say goodbye without saying I love you. And I think that's incredibly important. It's just those little habits. And it goes into the discipline too. And it's easy. Like, for me, especially in my house, lights, like leaving the lights on. I can, walk past their bedroom and flick the lights off for them. Or I can yell downstairs and say, get up here. Whoever was last in the room, turn off the lights. I mean, it's a daily thing for me. Like, turn off the lights, turn off the lights. And even with behaviors like today, my kid was on his PlayStation, and the internet was like crapping out on him. So he like threw a fit and like banged his dresser like 5 times really hard. And it's something we've talked about in the past. Like, look, I don't like that behavior. You're going to stop it or you're going to get in trouble. Well, today he just took it too far. And so he lost his PlayStation for the rest of the day. And it's like that, like, it's not nice to discipline people, but it's got to make an impact. And, I came home from the gym and what did I find him doing? He was at the dining room table putting a Lego set together, so there's other things they can be doing. In the end, hopefully it changes his behavior. If not, then we're going to have to bring the hammer down a little bit harder next time. But it's consistency. It all comes down to consistency day in and day out. And as I'm thinking about this, like I'm thinking about it on the ride home from the gym, I don't like trying to put myself out as somebody that I'm not, I'm not uber successful at the moment. I'm not rich. I'm not perfect. I'm not like, I don't have it all figured out. But I think the core of everything we're trying to do here is to focus on enjoying the ride. And that is like, I think that's the essence of what Define My Day and Defined Life is. Like, I don't have it all figured out. I'm not where I want to be in life. I don't have the things I want in life. I don't have the relationships I want in life, right? Where I am right now is not where I would ideally be right now, and it's not where I want to be in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, right? But I think the important thing is that I wake up every day liking where I am. Like, I'm not incredibly happy with the house that I'm in right now, but I'm okay being here, and I'm okay. Like I'm grateful for the relationships I have, and always looking to get better relationships or improve the relationships I have. And I think that's the core of it, just enjoying the ride. Like, there's no reason to be here if we can't find some enjoyment every day. And I've even been accused of being miserable. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I've been accused of being angry or upset or whatever. I'm like, no, that's, and I, in a way, sometimes take on responsibility for that, or take even maybe like, well, maybe I am miserable. No, I get upset about situations, right? And I've had that conversation. Like, that's kind of like I've had to delineate, what I am and how I am in a certain situation. And, I get angry. Of course I get angry about situations, and sometimes I'm resentful because I find myself in situations because of toxic relationships or whatever might be going on. But I think that it's about like constantly striving to improve while also appreciating where you are. And if you can't find that every day, then life is really hard. And it kind of passes you by, and you're going to be really unhappy with it. And so, as I'm trying to find clarity in what we're all about here, it's enjoying the ride. That's it. I mean, I'm like hashtag, put it on a coffee mug, whatever. Like, it is about enjoying the ride. So, that's what, and Kathy, you're saying it right there. It's the journey, not the destination. Yeah, right? Like, we're never going to get to this one place. And we've talked about this in the past. We're never going to get to this place where, we say, wow, I'm happy. Life is perfect. And now what is kind of the question that actually happens. And then people get to that place. Like, people get to retirement and then they find themselves miserable because they've been striving for so long. And it's not heaven. It's not Valhalla. It's you're still living. You still got to have a purpose to keep on going until you're done. So, find what you enjoy every day. Enjoy the ride. You might be in a crappy situation, but enjoy the ride. Seriously, I'm going to put that on a coffee mug. You might see me here one day in the morning drinking out of my Enjoy the Ride coffee mug. Absolutely. What else is going on? Tomorrow, my live video, I think we have it scheduled for 10 o'clock. You'll see it in the user group. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about the things that help me go every day. The tools, the podcasts, like the people I follow. So I'm going to share that with you to kind of give you some little tools to get forward. One of the podcasts I've been listening to the past couple of weeks, and the guy, I saw him live at a conference last fall. The guy's name's Eric Thomas. I've talked to you about him in here before. He's the hip hop preacher. This is his moniker. And he might be the smartest guy on the internet right now as it comes to motivation and just the practical things that him and his crew talk about. It is, hey guy, I'll be out in 10 minutes, okay? All right, so go ahead. Um, and so where was I? um, oh, so him and his crew, like I mean, they are spot on with what they talk about. I mean, it transcends race, culture, class, politics. Like they are practical with the things that they talk about every day or every week on their podcast, and I really recommend it. It's the Secret to Success podcast. But one of the things they were talking about in this one episode that I was listening to the other day was that, like, imagine yourself carrying a cup of coffee. Um, you know, if somebody bumps into you and it spills, what spills out, right? What spills out of a cup of coffee if somebody bumps into you? And the simple answer is coffee. So, and when you take it personally, if somebody bumps into you, what spills out? Like if somebody disrupts you, what spills out? Whatever's inside of you. So I was like, whoa, yeah, that's absolutely it. So if you're an angry person, if somebody bumps into you, you're going to respond with anger. If you are a happy person or a forgiving person, somebody bumps into you, you're gonna respond with forgiveness, right? Or understanding. And I think about with me, like, so if somebody bumps into me, what comes out of me? And it's a little bit of, like all different stuff. Like sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's forgiveness, sometimes it's like, hey man, that's okay. Go ahead, do your thing. It's all you. But I think like at my core, when I hit like a struggle, what comes out of me is perseverance and drive. And I'm kind of figuring that out. Like, as I'm thinking about my health, like, my affirmations are all positive, but I'm actually considering, and I might actually do this today, is I'm going to print out a piece of paper, and the only thing it's going to say on it is I have diabetes. And I'm going to put it on my wall right next to my bed. When I wake up, roll over, I'm going to look at that and I'm going to see that. Now, I don't have diabetes, but what that's going to do for me is give me that negative incentive to be healthy today. It might sound completely wrong. You might be listening to this and go, what is wrong with you? But for me, like when I feel negative pressure, I respond with a drive to overcome it. It's not always a positive reaction, but there's a drive to beat whatever might be in front of me. And so, with that, like you have diabetes, right? It might even say you. Maybe it'll say you have diabetes. And I'm going to wake up and go, no, I don't. No, I don't. And I won't. Right? And so that's the way I respond. Now, that might not be right for you. That sort of talk might not be right for you, and that's okay. You have to understand where you come and where your drive comes from and change that for yourself. In 2 years, that might not be something that drives me, but right now, it probably is. And that's, I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to test it, and I'm going to see how it goes. And, I'll let you know how that goes. That's pretty much it. That's kind of where we're at today. We had a good day today. Got my workout in. In fact, with that, I have diabetes thought in my head. I went to the gym today and crushed it today. I was there for like an hour and 20 minutes and just blew it out. And I came home and I felt like I had a hangover, but now I feel much better, much better. And we're gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna go down with my boys. We're gonna eat some dinner and have a good night together. So I hope you guys, watching this live or otherwise, have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I believe, 10 o'clock Eastern, and Facebook shows you your local time for when it's scheduled. And we'll talk about the tools that I use that keep me going every day. So have a great day. Enjoy the ride. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.